Yeah, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. You are welcome back to Massive Media, where you get the latest analysis, the things that have been happening that people do not understand. Silent information Christians ignore. Nigeria comprises of both Christians and Muslims, but the Christians do not understand the religion called Islamic religion, while the Muslims understand what it means to be a Christian, especially modern-day Christianity in Nigeria. Christians shout when things happen to them, then ignore it few days after the event. Again, Nigeria lives in a society comprising of various nationalities. In the original era, Nigeria comprises of the north, southwest, and the southeast. That is the composition of Nigeria. Whether it is today divided into north, south, east, west, whatever area of angle you divide them, Nigeria is known to be a country of three nations. There is no doubt Nigeria has witnessed various religious conflicts, religious attacks, religious killings, and all these are coming from the northern part of Nigeria, especially amongst the Muslim worshippers. Indeed, there is struggle amongst the religious groups. These struggles are ignited by the Islamic group, and while the Christians are the recipient of whatever decision they make in Nigeria. This analysis is not going back to the time of Usman Dan Fodio, but it will get its angle on the side of the military era, especially between 1983, after Muhammadu Buhari with his groups plotted a coup that overtook the then Nigerian president, late Shehu Shagari. They began a project of Islamization, a project that Buhari himself could not attain before he was removed by General Ibrahim Babangida. It is during the time of Ibrahim Babangida that the Islamic agenda began, and the project was given a lift from the ground floor international status. Nigeria was registered into the OIC, Organization of Islamic Conference, in 1986. Although this was ignored by the Christians, their protest was limited, but was left with let the lying dog rest. But today, the lying dog is no longer resting. It has resurrected and began to attack every area of Christian life. With the happenings in Nigerian society and Africa indeed, it has come to the realization that the quotation in Romans 8:5 verse 6, which says, "For those who live according to the flesh set their minds on the flesh things of the flesh, but those who live according to the Spirit and the things of Spirit, for to be carnally minded is death, and to be spiritually minded is life and peace." This has eluded the Christians. Many pastors today have lived carnally minded and has given words or prophecies that has diminished the respect and the status of Christianity amongst the Muslim world of Nigeria. Going back to the election fraud that was aimed to institute Islamic head of state and what turned out to be Muslim ticket. Despite many reactions from the Christians, it went on to stand because Christians do not exercise any force. Christians do not see things beyond let God take charge. But God says, I have given you the knowledge and the power and the spirit to overcome every temptation, every enemy's devices. But to many, this will not happen. It is God who will fight for Christians every physical battle they can fight with their fellow man. But they want God to come down from heaven to fight it for them. However, when this began in 1983, Babangida, who was then the military head of state, who took power from Major General Buhari then, who was impressed by the Nigerian northern Muslims and the southwestern Muslims to ensure that Nigeria was registered as Islamic State. Since General Buhari did not do it, he compromised, looking at the secularity of Nigerian state. But this group of Islamic groups from the north and from the southwest, and also externally from the Middle East, impressed on Babangida to register Nigeria as a way of receiving money from the Middle East or Islamic Bank to execute his programs between 1985 to 1994. Then came Abdul Salami Abubakar, the general who handed over power to General Obasanjo. Before the power was handed over to Obasanjo, Abdul Salami had a constitution that has become a problem to Nigerians. Even at amendment, it has become Islamic in nature. All this period, the Senate, the House of Representatives, and the Nigerians at large have complained over this Islamic constitution designed by Abdul Salami. Nonetheless, this constitution was handed over to General Obasanjo between 1999 to 2007. He operated the constitution. It was during the time of General Obasanjo as a president of Nigeria that he allowed Sharia law to be implemented in 12 northern Nigerian states. As this was not enough, it continued during the time of Yar'Adua and Jonathan. This, as if this was not enough, it continued during the time of General Buhari, who expanded it and put to face the program that has been hidden. He brought it open and worked towards it. Then we go back to what then constituted a problem for this Islamization agenda. After General Buhari, then General Babangida took over power. There were two separate groups that wanted this Islamic agenda to be implemented. One, we look at the northern part of the group, which was internal anyway. These groups were headed by the then Sultan of Sokoto, Abubakar III, with the Islamic cleric, Sheikh Gumi. In Southwest, it was led by Moshood Abiola and Dr. Adebite from the Southwest. They were the group that met with Babangida in 1985. Then the external group that came in were Islamic business group from the Middle East and OIC. It was at this very juncture that the new Islamic agenda for Nigeria began. The Islamic project was then designed to be introduced in northern Nigeria as a whole, although this was in operation at a minimal level. When Chief Abiola started his political career, it was designed to Islamize the entire southern Nigeria. So the project was not limited to northern Nigeria, but also to southern part of Nigeria. Quoting from the Latif Adebite's Wikipedia, back to his career as a leader, as a Muslim leader, in 8, I will read, at the Constituent Assembly in 1976, Adebito urged in favor of introducing Islamic courts of appeal into southern states of Nigeria, arguing that Muslims had the right to have their affairs judged according to Sharia law. Then, furthermore, it quoted, it says, he was to support efforts by MKO Abiola to introduce Sharia to the southern states in the early 90s. Dr. Adebite reasserted this position in December 2002 during a period of heightened tension between Christians and Muslims, unquote. Then, making reference to Chief Moshood Abiola's Wikipedia, you find out that there is no great difference, although he represented a unified system. But what has been designed has been designed. He is a member of persons who designed the system of Islamization. According to his Wikipedia, Chief Abiola was a member of Ansar-ud Training Organization in Nigeria. According to the Wikipedia, again, Chief Abiola supported Islamic courses, including introduction of Sharia Court of Appeal in southwestern Nigeria and Nigeria's entry to Organization of Islamic Countries in 1986 during the time of General Babangida. Today, when ex-governor of Kaduna State, Mr. Rufei speaks, people think he is speaking alone. Christians believe he is speaking his mind, but unfortunately, he is speaking the mind of many clerics, many Islamic scholars, many emirs, and the Muslims of Nigeria. They are following the program of General Babangida and the Islamization agenda. Whether you like it, whether you argue about it, whether you dispute it, all the same. It is the lifestyle of Christians to dispute every angle of information they have, instead of going in to look at those information, analyze them, and come out concretely to make sure that such information do not exist. Instead, they will turn against the producers of such information. Those who say it is going to happen, they will fight against the person. God, as I stated earlier, has given us all the knowledge to analyze events and come out concretely with a beneficial result that will help your own society. Quoting the Bible once again in 2 Timothy verse 7, it says, For God hath not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of sound mind. We do not utilize any of these powers given by God, but Christians choose the spirit of fear rather than the spirit of sound mind and love to know what is happening around them in the midst of the lions. It should be known that in 2016, it was Rufei that introduced a bill that will regulate Christian activities in Kaduna State. You listen to the video clip by yourself.
Preaching activities of religious groups in the state. The group, at a media briefing at the National Christian Center, Abuja, urged Governor Nasir Rufei to withdraw the bill from the State Assembly. They also condemned the recent cases of abduction and forceful marriage in the country, as well as the manner with which federal lawmakers killed the gender parity bill.
We wish to express tremendous shock at the proposed Kaduna State Religious Bill. The proposed bill contravenes Section 38, subsection 1 of the 1999 Constitution. We should remind the government of Kaduna State that religion is personal and no one has the right to legislate on how individuals worship. We call on the Kaduna State government to retrace his step, to retrace his step for this ill-advised venture. We are saddened by recent exposure of the country to serial cases of forced abduction of underage, forceful marriage, marriage without parental consent of the Christian girl, and their forceful conversion to Islam.
In 2023, after the election of President Bola Tinubu, Rufei came out to give his own final opinion of Muslim domination. This is actually what they have been planning, and it has been coming out clearly. But what Christians do is to make argument. In every project they make, the Muslims make for the total Islamization, what Christians come out to do is to make argument.
In the video, which has since gone viral, Rufei is reported to have also said that the victory of Bola Ahmed Tinubu had silenced the Christian Association of Nigeria, adding that he will sustain an Islamic-dominated government for 20 years and unending, not only in Kaduna State, but in Nigeria at large. Famco, who is also a former national director of the Christian Association of Nigeria, while reacting to Rufei's comments, expressed disappointment at his classification of citizens of his state as them versus us, which to him meant that the former governor cannot be exonerated from the wanton killings, demolition of houses, and places of worship of Christians in Kaduna. Well, let's take a listen to a short clip of that video before we come back for a discussion.
Duk da taron dangin da aka yi, duk da addini da aka yi amfani da shi, Allah ya ba Asiwaju nasara. Abinda muka samu muka yi a Kaduna yanzu an yi shi a ƙasa gaba ɗaya. Babu wani makaryaci da zai zo ya ce, zai fito ya ce shi zai yi siyasa na Kiristanci ya ci zaɓe. Peter Obi ya yi ga inda yake. An yi maganin wannan, dole suka yi shuru. Tun da Asiwaju ya ci zaɓe kan tsit. To da haka ne za a samu zaman lafiya a ƙasar nan. To shi ma ka gani aka sake aka ƙara sai komi sai ya wallahi abinda muka yi kenan kuma ni da wasu.
At the end of the argument, the project will still go on. They did it in 1986. Even it was the Christians themselves who promoted the Muslim ticket that you find out today when they allowed the Nigerian secular state to be registered into the OIC. The Christians supported it, including bishops and the external affairs minister then, who was Professor Bolaji Akinyemi. None of the Christian commissioners, federal commissioners or ministers during the time of Babangida resigned to show their protest. The clerics, that is the bishops, the Protestants, the Pentecostals, they all kept mute. They never protested to stop that registration. Today, everyone is asking, why is this happening? But those political leaders were aware, they knew it, the Christians knew it, but they never reacted so effectively and in a combined effort to stop the registration. The programs were designed to ensure that the Muslims will take over the entire management of the nation, the leadership. But Christians are focusing on what they can gain, especially the Pentecostal pastors. This is not different from what happened in Turkey of the present-day Islamic State. It's not different from what happened in other Islamic countries of the world, both West and Africa. The Christians will be the group that will keep mute and be supportive and tell the members of the congregation that God will not allow that to happen. In the election of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, when they realized that the North will not produce another president, the APC shifted it to South. The governors of APC supported Southern president, but behind the motive was not to give it to the Christian side of the country, but to identify those who had relationship with MKO Abiola, the Western Muslims. And it was identified that it was Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and they used the entire trick to bring him into the fold of presidential candidate. Those from the southeast who were attacking their brothers, who were killing their brothers, who were doing everything to pacify the president, General Muhammad Buhari, like the persons of Omahe, Ojuzokalo, Rochas Okrocha, and all whatnot from the southeast. At the end of the day, they got lost because they were not Muslims. Irrespective of the turbaning by the emirs, this did not help them because the Muslims knew those they want to put into office. Tinubu was identified. They used most of the eastern state governors to move around to discourage people from the PDP and the Labour Party, indeed. So at the end of the day, the Muslim ticket was successful. You find out that the project of 1983 has successfully been implemented. The INEC is part of the cabal, and the cabals are the people who influence the election of any president. Talkless of this time, they have projected that Muslims, according to Rufei, will rule the country for the next 20 years. That is the project. Well, with this, we come to the end of this very program. We ask you to subscribe, share our videos, and listen to the next one, where we'll bring you another edition of our analysis. Thank you very much. We ask you to share our videos, give us thumb up, then you make your comment, and ensure that you will miss no part of this analysis. Thank you for listening, and God bless you all. Bye.